Hello.
Now we're live. Hello. Welcome,
Hi,
ladies and gentlemen.
everybody.
Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new Thursday stream over here at twitch.tv/theslayergiant and youtube.com/theslayergiants for what we used to call the Ultimate X Bottom podcast. And we have certainly have some things to say about that, but glad to be here. Paul, how you doing? Haven't seen you since the
I'm
Reacts.
doing all right. I'm alive. I'm functioning. Playing a lot of stuff / nothing,
Uh-huh.
and ready to chat.
Yes, so and it's definitely like all about chatting because it's kind of like a we were just talking about this behind the scenes and all that with the regards to what this really is. And what's funny is that you kind of had suggested this from the very beginning, and I was like, no, let's do this other things, and I was like,
I need to
yeah,
claim full credit.
yes. So obviously people have been noticing that this year I have really gone full on the whole streaming thing of it all because me and Paul were used to do a weekly podcast that I kept going weekly while Paul was kind of jumping in and out because of his paternity only allowing him every 2 weeks. If I have to be very frank and honest, I cannot do a bi-weekly show. It has to be weekly. Like that's just my discipline. And but then at the same time, I was like, do I really still want to make this like a podcast? Because we said we were going to put it on Spotify and we haven't done it again because we used to have it there. And I was like, why don't we just make this a hangout? Like, why isn't Thursdays like the time during the week where I play games? Like, I always going to play games Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, like definitively. Thursdays, why isn't this just a stream that also starts with us just chatting? What's happening out there in the world? What insanity is happening? Do it more of a lax, kind of keeping the spirit of the podcast, but no longer calling it a podcast. That's kind of like just a more is more of a hangout stream that can be a little bit more freeing. I would say more.
Well, which thing is more respected in the world, Alejandro? A podcaster or a streamer?
It seems that it depends on the audience, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're noticing like what is growing now is like it's like people just going live and chatting. It really is, and it's like that's kind of technically what we do, but maybe we can just like stop calling this a podcast and just be like, this is the Slayer Giants time to hang out, check what's going on out in the world. Like we're gonna talk about certain reviews that came out of a game that unlocks later tonight, and plus other stuff. But then giving us more freedom to, if there's really nothing to talk about, maybe Thursdays is where we just play a game together, a multiplayer game, or
Yeah.
we react to funny stuff like we take suggestions from audience members. Who knows? But it's like I feel having more of that freedom is gonna be easier because we could try to keep it more varied instead of having to keep a more strict kind of like schedule. Well, the schedule remains, but more of a strict like program like that the podcast required. Like it's like it's time to talk about what we've been playing. Now talk about the news and all that. Like we can kind of play around with the format a little bit more. But this way, I feel I can also do this on my own in the weeks that you're not here. I just kind of go live and be like, hey, let's check what's out there, and then I can play later that day, or we just start playing if there's nothing really of note. I feel the inspiration for me happened with the stream that we did because it was like the stream we did for the reacts to the state of play uh,
Last week.
2 weeks
Which was
ago.
a banger video for everybody.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago. You're right.
2 weeks
Sorry.
ago. That only exists in Twitch because YouTube crashed, and it only there's only like 30 minutes in the YouTube. I had to try to extract
Well,
the Twitch
yeah, I was gonna
VOD
say,
for
you
that.
could definitely extract the Twitch and then turn
Uh-huh.
it into a YouTube video, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah, you know how my internet is with like uploads and all of that. That's been like it's the reason why we switched to streaming and all that. So that's kind of like the irony that is like it's still like we're still trying to keep the thing that we were planning on doing on Thursday, but I feel this allows me to always do this at the very least on Thursdays, more guaranteed, but doesn't require me to have someone else at the same time because we can play. Like I was planning on playing with my siblings. I told them to download Marathon because Marathon is what you might call it happening. Like the open test is there. Like I know you were watching Fallout Plays. Why like
Really
play the game?
casually, but
Yeah.
it existed, and I got to watch a little bit of gameplay of it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
And we can definitely talk about that in a second because, man, it is hard to decipher that sometimes.
Yes, 100%. So again, like I think like Thursday's just gonna become more of a hangout stream now. Like, and we will like play it by ear. Like maybe this is when we always react to showcases. Who knows? Either in the moment or we kind of like push it forward. Like if we know there's like a showcase, you may want to react like a Nintendo Direct that happens on a Wednesday. If they're not at the ungodly morning, like hours of the morning, it's like a
never forgive them for that, like 6 a.m.
Yes, that we got blue balled. I'll never forget it for as long as I lived in that one. But the hype we got from that State of Play 2 weeks ago is that kind of hype that I wanted to have in that Nintendo Direct that we woke up early for. And we were and
that was what we were hoping for.
Yeah,
was what we got last 2 weeks ago.
But Konami was the one that blessed us. So basically, like this was called the Ultimate X Button. I don't know if we're gonna keep the branding for now because we're just kind of hanging out now. But those are kind of like the format changes that we want to kind of mention. Instead of bi-weekly, every Thursday, always gonna go live, whether Paul is here or not. I'll be here, and I'll be taking suggestions. Come hang out. Let's see what's happening in the world of gaming. So, on that note, no need to do the rigmarole of this is the Ultimate X Button podcast. Paul, anything you want to catch me up on what you've been playing?
All right, so let me give you the rundown. I might have forgotten a thing or two here and there, but I'm going to try to run through a few things just really quick and share a thing here and there. Well, my High Guard speech.
Yes.
And that whole monologue seems to have aged like milk.
Oh, yeah, it's like, because how long ago did they lay off the entire team now?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they only have like 20 people now. There's a Jason Schreier article that talked about like what happened, and we finally learned where they got the money and all that. So
yeah, Tencent being a secret backer. I'm still convinced that Jeff Keighley's like one of his little shell companies also helped invest a little bit in it.
I 100% agree.
Apparently one of my buddies sent me a post that they made that said that they added a new mode that is essentially just the Siege ripoff portion.
Really?
And they took out the entire middle, and they said that you just get a set amount of crystals in between rounds that you could then spend on stuff like Counter-Strike style.
That's so funny.
A whole fun thing. Unfortunately, that means that it is now straight up ripping off another game instead of trying to merge two gameplay styles, and it is now justifying its existence even less than it was before. I still enjoyed it. I really did. I just have a lot better stuff to play now, unfortunately. And that means that by the next time I get to do it, I'm waiting for the day that I wake up and I'm at work and I hear High Guard servers have gone offline. And it's like, well, that was it.
Yeah.
Because as people have heard, the Discord and the website no longer work. At least last time I heard, I did not go check that to verify it myself.
It's such a tragedy. Like, how
it really is.
Like,
when they tried to even talk about how bad it was, how everybody dogpiled on them just because they didn't like what they saw initially, everyone blamed them for that too, and is like, oh man, you lost, don't be a sore loser about it. But it's like, that is exactly what happened. People bought the not bought the game, they downloaded the game without even playing it, and then like review bombed the hell out of it into oblivion. So many people were just not enjoying what they did, almost like out of spite. And it's a shame, but and that's as somebody who has no horse in it. It was a decent game, and I'm watching another fun multiplayer game die on the vine because people made their decision before they got to play it. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that, I got to replay Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 here and there. I have not finished either of those two. I'm just kind of screwing around and playing with it because I got really into Metal Gear Solid again after the excitement of 4 being announced for August. I wanted to replay the original. Got sidetracked by wanting to play the higher fidelity of 2. I started watching the RuneB stream playthrough of both of those games as well, like not simultaneously, but like during the day I'd kind of watch parts of it on at my work computer, and then I'd go home and actually play that segment, basically,
Uh,
almost like how I did my Death Stranding thing.
yeah, that
Just because
I'll never
there's some
forget
crazy
that.
stuff that happens in that show, in that game, and I just needed to hear somebody like react to some of the wild things that get said and
Hmm.
happen. To somebody else who like also played the games, but it's been a really long time. They're like, "Wow, that was really weird, huh?"
Yep.
um, I think I just need the validation to watch through that from
Mm.
somebody else. But in any case, I was enjoying that a lot, and it's also something I can pause, which has been very important because unfortunately Emrys has been sick again,
Hmm.
and so
How long has he
sometimes he
been
doesn't want
sick
to
now?
stay asleep. On and off for about a month now. The daycare has been just crushing his immune system,
Hmm.
and he's on the up and up, more so now. But it makes him clingy and it
Hmm.
ruins his routine. So you have to kind of restart the whole thing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But in any case, that's neither here nor there. Then I finally finished Front Mission first because I think
Hmm.
the last time I talked about it, I was still in the middle. What a wild and fun game. I cannot believe that was a Super Nintendo game.
Hmm.
I just can only imagine if I'd played it in the 90s, that would have blown my mind. It's definitely limited. It's definitely repetitive. I was pretty tired and ready for it to end, um, for the pacing, but it was fun. The characters were surprisingly well written. I love the artwork for
Hmm.
it, which it seems like they just used the same artwork and upresed it.
Hmm.
And I started playing the prologue of the second game, and I didn't get too far because I got distracted by another game that I'll mention later on. But it's really cool because it's like, I keep wanting to say Ace Combat. It's Armored Core
Hmm.
customization, but with Fire Emblem gameplay. That's such a cool combination to me. And it just only gets deeper with each game. So I'm looking forward to playing three
Hmm.
and maybe putting it into the honorable
Have you?
mentions if I can finish it.
Yeah. Have you gotten three yet? Was that new for this year
I
or?
bought three because that came out at the end of January, so that would be eligible for our list
Hmm.
this year. But the one and two came out last year, so I've just barely missed that one.
Hmm.
But in any case, I'll eventually get to three. I do own it on Steam because they gave me a deal for already owning one and two,
Hmm.
so I got it for like $25 instead of 30, whatever it was. But yeah, it was a really fun game. Looking forward to playing the rest of the series.
Hmm.
Then I played the latest event, I guess, missions of Helldivers 2, and I
Hmm.
had a really complicated time with it.
Uh huh.
It was a lot of fun, but it was really frustrating because there's some stuff that they decided to do.
Hmm.
I don't know if they were like number flubs or anything, but they
Hmm.
basically made it really difficult. People were not willing to subject themselves to the
Hmm.
gauntlet of city. Well, it's basically like a giant factory city, and there's a wall around it, and
Hmm.
you can like go underneath some grates that are every once in a while, or you can destroy a gate. They're really far between, so you have to run along the wall to find them. The spawns are busted with what they do,
Are they really?
and because well, they'll just like drop like the craziest things on top, literally on top of you,
uh.
while you're trying to do anything to survive. They won't have nearly enough cover for you. Um, there's something going on. There's like an incinerator squad, which is like they have
Hmm.
flamethrowers, but they don't make any noise. So they'll
Okay.
just show up like 10 feet behind you and flamethrower you to death. Um, I've never heard one coming, which is
Really?
really weird to me. um, so between all of that, they had a lot of other stuff that was kind of going up against what kind of your capabilities were on your end.
Hmm.
And then at the end, they had what's called the DSS, which is like their little Death Star
Hmm.
station that is supposed to help by firing like kill streaks into the map at all times. Well, that more likely than not will kill you as well, more than the enemies. And there was just a lot of difficulty understanding what to do
Hmm.
because you essentially had to liberate 8 different cities in a certain amount of time with a certain amount of like hell divers in reserve, basically. And because of how difficult it was, people were just depleting those reserves really fast. But the understanding that used to be the case is that you got more progress for the higher difficulty you had.
Hmm.
which ended up not being the case when somebody went into the coding. So it actually should have been um, like you should have gotten more progress for the higher difficulty. So people just kept beating themselves against the wall, only to find out no, the best idea was to drop the difficulty down and get a bunch of completions to actually finish it. So people felt a little gypped by the process, basically, and felt like the cards were stacked against them. But then the devs were like, "This is your problem. You like your story. You failed. Sorry, bud." And now they're punishing all the players for failing by lowering their reserves per mission on like the next set of things going on.
Yeah,
basically.
such BS.
It is, and then so there's two last little things that I'll add on to that is that any city place does not spawn samples or the super credits, which everybody loves to farm. So nobody's going to go onto that planet because it does not offer any of those passive resources for them. And then the last one was shoot, I forgot the last one, but yeah, that was one of the big things is that there were no resources for people to go find in the city, so nobody wanted to contribute to it basically. So it was just a big flop all around.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing is because nobody was succeeding, you don't get any of the medals, which you use to unlock more of your war bond items. So nobody got any progress because everybody kept failing. And the real source of those is whenever you complete a major order, there's like 95 of those suckers that they'll give you. And that normally happens every like couple of days. So even if you drop off for like a week, you'll get all of those all of those medals for your war bond. But that hasn't happened for like 2 or 3 weeks now. So people are a little frustrated by like the feeling of being trapped and kind of stuck right now, and then being punished for struggling, basically. So we'll see what they're going to do. I think there's still a good amount of people, like a huge amount of people playing it. They're just a little gypped by all of that, and I'm sure someone will go off to play Marathon for a while and then come back to it. But at least the Helldivers crew is just like the Final Fantasy 14 people, where they're like, yes, when you're done, please leave the game, stop playing it, come back when there's something you want.
Like it should be. Like it literally should be.
It really should be.
Like that keeps a much healthier relationship with the game, because then you get more chance to go try other stuff. You don't make it your full-time job. And then on top of that, and then when something really cool comes back, because like for example, I had put I don't know if you've noticed that I'm sharing the screen. I've been like putting some footage. I'm like, I haven't even played like what's been in this footage that I'm looking at for Helldivers 2, and I'm like, I should.
Oh yeah, you're actually. Let me take a closer look at this. Actually, let me see.
Like it's like
that's the cyber stand footage right there.
Like I haven't even played this, and this is the kind of thing that I love.
The quietest I think I've ever seen that map, because usually it is chaos. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of chaos in what they've been sharing.
Left and right. It is just chaos all the way through. And they tried to give us a few things here and there to let us be able to do things. They tried to play it along the storyline of like, all right, we failed to do this. Now we're going to give you all portable hell bombs to cause as much havoc as possible as we try to escape. And that was fun, because boy, the portable hell bomb is literally just a giant suicide bomb that's on your back. You run in, activate it, drop it, and then you run as fast as you can. Or more likely than not, you're in such a desperate position that you just dive into the center of people as you explode. I think you saw it just for a moment. They added the Halo 3 trailer bubble field.
I think I did, yes.
Like a grenade at your feet, and then it just goes up right around you for a little bit. And people have been really loving recreating that because, of course, the UNSC rifle is in there as well, and it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the next stuff that they have and actually making some money.
This is the one game that I regret never getting my brother and my sister and my brother-in-law into, because gosh, it would be funny. You remember playing with my sister? That would
I do.
I feel that would be hilarious.
Good. Like, she would enjoy this. I think.
Like Paul, yesterday we were playing Overwatch. Like we
oh my god.
Yeah, you can imagine.
There was a portable hell bomb right there just now. He ran in, he dropped it, and chaos ensued.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, your brother and sister I think would have loved this.
Mm-hmm.
But Overwatch has kind of had a comeback ever since they
Yes.
dropped the two and kind of revisited some of their glory days.
Yeah.
It seems like people have come back.
Yeah, I would say the UI of that game is such a mess that literally where we were while we were trying to like play it because it was my sister's first time playing, it was so impenetrable because it was like what the heck
Where do I even
like
play?
where do I even play now, because it's like what even is going on now, like where do you even press play to start playing and things like that. But I have not played Overwatch since 2018 myself. Like really played. I briefly tried Overwatch 2 when it came out in October 2022, and I only did a tutorial. I was like, this is kind of like the same thing. I'm not really feeling this right now. And we were playing so long yesterday that I started my Shadows of Rose stream really late because we kept playing, and it was funny seeing like my sister was like, I don't understand it. She was slowly kind of getting it. Like she became like a support character. She whatchamacallit, like she started understanding like the flow of things and kind of like us communicating and be like, okay, please come heal us as we kind of like kill this tank as we keep pushing like this match where there's this robot pushing the thing and all of that. The amount of characters that thing has now, and that they're all literally available, they're not like gated or a purchase or anything, like such a wide variety of things, and that game is so pleasing to play in some ways. It is complicated, but it's like this weird mix of complicated and easy at the same time. I don't know how to really explain it.
I think it's simple
Uh-huh.
once you understand the concept. And then from there it's like a low floor high ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
or like you could jump in, you get the gist of it, but to really like grasp
Mm-hmm.
the intricacies, that's where the real fun is. And then you're trapped, because that's what all of the mobile lovers
Exactly. Yeah.
will swear by, going like, no man, it's actually really complex and intense, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unfortunately true. As much as we like to meme on it, like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why people love these, is because they're not just a brain dead shooter. There's a lot of strategy going on in there.
Yeah, that's the irony. It can be played like a brain dead shooter, but there's so much strategy and sweatiness happening at the same time. But
Believe me, I played Marvel Rivals for a
exactly,
minute. I know exactly how that feels.
I would say I'm glad that I play Marvel Rivals because it's made me reappreciate how much better the gameplay is in Overwatch, because Marvel Rivals is so. I appreciate the concept of trying to do Overwatch and all that, but I feel like you really need a shooter for this. And because that game is not really a shooter, it's like there's this weird disconnect that can happen in that game's gameplay in specific areas, especially if you don't get a shootery character in that game. I would say it is bad. Hey, it's still popular, and that game is still like it's like that game's kind of trucking along. Like how long ago was?
It really depends on what you're trying to hope for. It's come out 2 years ago now.
Yeah, end of 2024, right? Yeah, 24.
24, sorry.
Yeah, so we're a year and 2 months since that game came out. So I deleted it to install this, ironically, because I was like, I'm not really.
No, I mean,
yeah,
that game's been gone off my hard drive for a long time because it's only fun with friends.
Uh,
To me personally, but I will say, like, the design's cooked for Marvel Rivals.
Oh yes,
and I love so much what that game is outside of actually playing it. I think. Because I think I only have the space in my heart for one multiplayer game at a time.
That's many people, because that's you only have so much time at a certain, like at any point. That's been like the only multiplayer thing of note that I play, because they still play Overwatch. Like they're still playing Overwatch. I mean, Fortnite. I've been trying to like walk back on playing I'm actually really sick and tired of Fortnite at this point in time, that I just don't want to keep playing more. And I've been like itching for anything new that we could play together. And obviously, like, we have Marathon now that we're going to be playing.
I'm not going to touch Fortnite until I'm really going to feel it. Feel the need for it, really. But when I do, I'm just glad that my boy Snake and Old Snake are there.
Exactly, yeah. So
that's crazy.
So to catch up on the things that I've been playing since the last time we talked, and that's the thing, we didn't even talk what we were playing last time because we were just reacting to that state of play. I did a tech analysis for Avowed, the PS5 version of Avowed. They gave me Xbox sent us a code for that, so I didn't really need to play the entire thing. I just really needed to compare and contrast the the PS5 and PS5 Pro version versus the Xbox version, I would say it's decent. Like it's very like at base PS5 is very similar to like what people played on the Series X last year when the game launched. It could be like a pretty game in some places, even though it's kind of like feels like, I hate using this term, but there's a certain fantasy slop aesthetic to it that is, it looks so, it's like a pretty but generic fantasy. I don't know if you agree, Paul. Like with the
Which is ironic considering a lot of people would say it's a more unique looking
uh
fantasy game or series rather.
yeah,
And
because
that,
of
I
the
think
Pillars
that
of
goes to
Eternity,
show
the Pillars of Eternity universe.
right. I think that goes to show just how generic they made Avowed in the end.
Uh
Because I remember being so excited when
mm-hmm.
I saw the gameplay at first.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Back when it was like announced, and then we got a couple more trailers and such, and then
Mm-hmm.
just suddenly one day I was like,
Not
man,
feeling
it
this.
feels like they're just taking a lot of the fun out of this
Uh
game. And then when I finally got to play just the abysmal prologue, at
mm-hmm.
least to me personally,
Yeah,
I
prologue is
liked
bad.
the concept of it, but man, it just, I was not feeling all of that. I mean, take even like let's say Dragon's Dogma 2, another game that I really didn't like and I
Mm-hmm.
bounced off really bad, but
Yeah.
had such a good opener
Yes.
that got you in, talked about who you are, why you're important. I mean, let's go back to the fact that the source of where this copycat is coming from, which is the Elder Scrolls,
Uh huh.
how good they onboard you. Oblivion and Skyrim, just two examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I think I even liked Starfield prologue.
Uh huh.
It's just it's something to hook you as, why are you in this world
Mm-hmm.
and what is the point? And for Avowed being like, you are the world's specialist boy,
Uh huh.
and you are here to really bring balance and to do some crazy stuff. And it's like, all right, you're kind of shipwrecked on an island, and there's just some like goblin kobolds looking things, and you
Mm-hmm.
can pick a couple deals. And I don't even hate the gameplay. I just feel like all of the trappings around it are just not
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I would say like combat is definitely the strongest thing about it because if you remember, like the Elder Scrolls combat is just not good. Like it's
Not
floaty.
great, no.
It's like it's never. It's the role playing and the depth that made those games what they were, but like combat never really felt good. And I would say like because remember this game was, it's ironic that Dragon Age the Veilguard and Avowed kind of came out very close to each other because these were both projects that used to be multiplayer stuff that got reworked. Veilguard was an even more it was an even more intense reclamation project of a live service looter that they tried to repurpose into like a single player Bioware game.
Right.
For Avowed, they were also doing a multiplayer version of Skyrim, like that they rebooted twice, and I would say that that's probably the root of why the combat actually feels good, because combat tends to be like the focus when you're doing a live service thing. That's just how it is, and and I would say like that's probably why we have the root of why at least moment to moment combat can be really good and about, but then like everything else is like this is the very definition of a 7 out of 10 game for me, that is like it doesn't break good like in almost anything it does, like
And it's crazy because, like, quality wise, it's definitely closer to an 8, but
uh
everything else around it is just pulling it down
yeah,
so unfortunately.
it's much cleaner, it's a much cleaner production than other early Bethesda, not Bethesda but other Obsidian style games, and I would say like it feels even more polished now a year later with the PS5 port and all of that, but I still like this is a game that I tell you that it just always loses my interest. I don't know if it's because I have no familiarity with Pillars of Eternity, uh, because this is technically kind of like a side offshoot that is like canon to Pillars of Eternity. So that tends to really like I have a tough time jumping into an ongoing franchise for some reason. As I know some people are able to do that, but when it comes to these that are like all about story and all that, I just didn't have the connection. This was one that I easily dropped. And last year, because it came out at the same time as KCD2, a game that I respect more than I like, KCD2 was just more impressive, like what it was trying to do, even though that's not a game for me necessarily. And even a year removed, I'm like, and me having played a little bit more KCD2 now, it's like, yeah, it's like, I feel bad that they launched so close because KCD2 is just much more impressive.
It's a much better game.
Yeah, and I'm more eager now to go back to KCD because of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms,
You are
which is
perfectly primed for that, man.
yeah. There's something about that show that has been like so much of the tone of that show is in KCD too, despite the fact that they're completely separate universes, and one is in a fantasy world, and the other one is just medieval. But it's like I would rather play that than play more of a battle. Like I didn't finish this; I just played enough to do the tech comparison. I would say the PS5 Pro support of this game is very, I wouldn't call it poor, but it's very bare bones. It's like the most minimal, oh yeah, this kind of looks better because better hardware means the dynamic resolution and the frame is going to run at the top of what it can allow because it has better hardware, but it doesn't use any of the PS5 Pro's like extra hardware. And that's been something that's been very hit and miss. So like on paper, I would say that them not using the PS5 Pro's like extra stuff like we're seeing with I don't know if you see the video or if you see the post that people are very impressed with the PS5 Pro support of Resident Evil Requiem. That they actually like went in.
Comments on that.
Yes.
It was funny how you were like, I won. And I was like, I really don't feel like being combative and doing this with meme. It's just like, oh, it's about time you get something on the board, man.
Yeah.
Like, how many misses the PS Pro, PS5
has
Pro
seemingly had, yeah.
towards it. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that we finally have something that's utilizing that kind of tech, right?
Yeah.
And how it's basically like the cleanest and best looking game out there, essentially. And once again, it's like Capcom shows up and shows out and goes, yep, this is the new benchmark for most AAA games, essentially.
Yeah, because the Pro has been like, it has had more hits than misses, but there have not been definitive hits. They have not been like, oh my god, this is like completely, this is the way. It's not like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that like in its performance mode, the Pro version is absolutely the way that you have to play that game if you want to play in performance mode, because on the base PS5 it's just too blurry. The base PS5 has been fine, like for many people. Like it still works. It's like it hasn't been a massive gap where it's like, oh man, base PS5 owners are kind of missing out on this. And I would say it's the same thing here with Avowed. The base PS5 version is very comparable to the Series X version. It looks slightly blurrier in spots than the Series X version, but it runs slightly better in spots, so it's kind of like a give or take. And you would only notice if you're literally flipping on both screens and trying to notice one another, which, who does that? Let's just be honest. Who does that beyond Digital Foundry? So it's like, it was still, Avowed works fine. And on the base PS5, like it's Pro support is bare bones, but it's like it's not offensive. It's like if you have a Pro, you'll still have a good enough time if you're still interested in this good, not great game. Now, speaking of games that are unfortunately barely scratching good, it gets there, but it takes a while.
Yeah, let's talk about God of War.
Yeah.
Sons of Sparta.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the IGN review for this one, for like the clips.
We're gonna break that one down because man, you played a lot more of this one than I did.
Dude, I have played 35 hours of this thing and it's still not over. This thing is long. Like, but I'm also, because I like completion. I like playing to completion the Metroidvanias, and it kind of scratches that itch for me. So I've been like, obviously I jumped straight into this immediately because I was like, a new God of War that got shadow dropped on the eve of us getting the trilogy remake announcement. It's like, and back to the Greek era, which I've grown more fond of than the Norse era, even though I still like the Norse God of War. And being a pixel art game that reminds me of Blasphemous, the art style of Blasphemous, which I really like, I was like, heck yeah, this will be a win. I'm gonna do it. And I would say this is the very definition of a game made for the true fans, for the people that really care about series lore, about specific era of a series lore, and maybe trying to get some extra context that could add extra shading to a character that you're probably already invested in.
Now, is this really made for the true fans?
And that's the thing.
I don't know if this is really made for the true fans.
And that's kind of like this, because it's like it's made for like fans that like story, I would say, because like they have put so much story in God of War Sons of Sparta that it's like belies believe how much story they put into a Metroidvania, where you're literally walking everywhere and it stops you for young Kratos and his brother Deimos to have a chat, whether it's at a bonfire like seen there, or like finding other characters from like this era, Sparta and all of that. From a gameplay perspective, it's distilled some of the simplicity that you remember from the Greek era, but man, you also realize a lot of what makes God of War gameplay is the Blades of Chaos. This game, for the majority of the time, you're only using that shield and spear. And
that's just it. It might be a Kratos game, but it's not a God of War game.
Exactly. And there's iconography from other God of War games. Like a lot of the enemies, they're from all over the Greek era. They put all of them here. From like the rock guys with the hammers, the little like stag like creatures that stand under on their weapon to do kind of like a flip and all that. Like they've actually recreated a lot of that pretty well, but it definitely feels like this is a game that they made more because they wanted to tell this kind of story instead of it serving God of War well in the gameplay department, because the gameplay is too simple. It takes way too long for interesting gameplay mechanics to start like popping up. The game is unrefined. Also, I would say it's actually shockingly unrefined. That you expect a little bit more polish out of a game that Sony's actually polishing. Obviously, this is a game that was made by a mobile team, Mega Cat Studios, that's over there in Pittsburgh. But it was overseen by Santa Monica, and Santa Monica has been like promoting this all over the thing. But there is a certain lack of polish to the encounter design. Like for example, right now this boss fight over here at Alistor infuriated me. It was so badly tuned that it's like, why am I supposed to like keep track of all this bullshit that's happening, like all these explosions happening here while he's attacking you with the stream and adding too much complicate. Like it's a simple game, but also it's very complicated in many spots. So there's like, for example, you see that there's some auras that come up from enemies. Like remember God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, that there was like the red aura and the yellow aura. That is like, if it's a red one, obviously you have to dodge. If it's a yellow one, if you block, it's gonna poise break you, but you can at least block the thing. But if you time it right, you can parry this for like better stun damage. Those things are here. But there's also a purple one. There's also a blue one that are kind of similar. It's like you can slightly parry this, you can slightly dodge this and all that. And sometimes that happens all the time. And there's a certain noisiness to the UI design sometimes when you're like in the middle of combat that kind of makes it hard to really read and get into a flow that feels very satisfying until much later in the game. And this game also includes what I like calling the unnecessary depth that was in the 2018 and what that was in 2018 and Ragnarok, that with the whole thing that game does loot and loot pieces and all of that. Removed from those two Norse games, seeing those systems put into a Metroidvania really makes me realize that it's like one of the things that I really liked about the Greek era of God of War was that they never lost sight of keeping things core, keeping things simple, pick up and play friendly for you to have fun. And I feel like the Norse era and now this one have added all this extra depth because of the over RPGization of action games, that I feel like sometimes that gets in the way of the fun. Like it's taking way long for me to feel like I can wail at enemies. Like for example, look how long he's wailing at this like at this miniature. I feel like I'm fighting Destiny enemies like sometimes, and you're just constantly and here's also the thing, like how are you doing a God of War game with only one attack button? How didn't you do combos? Like come on. Like the only thing
it's really just a completely different genre of game, and I think that's why I bounced off it so quickly, because it really is more of a Metroidvania in the style of you gotta zip around, don't get hit, you gotta move, where even the parry move just didn't feel like it was worth it.
The parry move is very important. I tell you really need to master the parry, because of parrying is the best way to fill up that stun meter to do like the brutal kills, because otherwise you're just gonna be wailing. And some of the brutal kills can be very satisfying because they just destroy enemies, even though this is a T-rated game. This is a T-rated God of War game. That's insane. Think about that. It's like it's
I mean, that's it. The pixel art really does a lot to lower that
uh
that power, you know,
oh yes.
and the oomph of gore and blood, whatever you end up seeing out of
Mm-hmm.
it. In fact, I mean, I feel like unless you go really over the top,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably more difficult than not to have a M-rated pixel art Metroidvania, as much as I think most, if not all,
Mm-hmm.
of the Castlevanias were.
Yeah, and like
Anyway.
yeah, but I feel like it just feels tonally so incongruent to what God of War is. You know what? I also like the tone is reminded me more of. It's like it feels like Sony Santa Monica fell in love with the tone of Atreus and Angrboda sections from Ragnarok, and decided
Yeah.
let's make
Mm.
that the tone. And I'm like, look, are you trying to like rewrite history right now and kind of like forget about the grit and the new metal kind of like tone that
Well,
defined the original God of Wars? Uh,
I don't know if I would go that far for it, just because, like, Kratos was an intense guy in his adulthood, but
mm-hmm,
I wouldn't also say that he was like the kind of person that we got to know very well
mm-hmm,
before his wife and daughter were murdered.
uh huh,
Like he was an intense dude and he was burning villages and killing people, but he wasn't as merciless and horrifying to deal with at that point, because I think it is important to also see that before
mm-hmm.
everything he was still just like a super disciplined
Yes,
in maybe intense kid.
yeah, and that's the thing.
Because
Like
I mean that's what Spartans were
exactly,
too.
but that's the thing. For example, if you played the PSP game God of War Ghost of Sparta, there's brief flashbacks to these characters. So actually, like this version of Kratos, there's like a brief flashback there, and you see him and Demos, and they actually got the same voice actor they used for those flashbacks for this game. So it's like at least they respected the lineage of that PSP game to be like, okay, we can pull something more from that timeline that we briefly teased there. But he definitely had a hard edge in the brief times that you see here, that you see in that game, that he's not here. He's very respectful, uh, maybe not quite as cheery as his brother Demos. That's a little too Disney Channel for my taste. Uh, in what he in like the way it's like, hey Kratos, I'm talking about this girl here. Man, I think I like her. Sometimes it's like there's something that just feels weird and very. I hate using the term modern audience, but it's like it's definitely feel like they were trying to appeal to other kinds of audiences that are not strictly God of War fans, and that's the funny thing because the things that are strong about this one, it's trying to appeal more to a specific kind of God of War. It's like I feel it's a very confused game. I would say, like because I don't think I can recommend this as a Metroidvania because like there's so many that are so much better. Like I feel like
So
they,
much better.
yeah, they came. Here's also the irony that to me, what I resent is the fact that God of War was always known as the player that would join in a specific kind of game, and their quality was always either near the top or top of the line. That they came in to be like, like we're gonna define and become like a reference to this genre. Like God of War 3 is still kind of like a reference to scale in games. That only a game like Final Fantasy 16 did something to be like, okay, I feel like there's a game that finally uh, improved the scale of what we saw, something like that. It took a while to do that, and they were always a reference when it came to like action games. And then God of War 2018 kind of be like, hey, let's we're not a Souls like, but let's see how we can move the perspective away from that like back to the shoulder and do that kind of. And they did a pretty excellent job, and obviously a lot of people love those games for the story. I feel like they came to play in the Metroidvania genre, and they don't even crack the top 20 Metroidvanias out there because it's like it's not a bad Metroidvania. It's not a bad Metroidvania, but it's a great value Metroidvania. It's like it hits it hits what you expect from it. Um, there's interesting stuff that if you're a God of War fan, you'll at least crack a smile at seeing some recreations of enemies being put here and kind of like what seemingly some of the seeming story revelations the game eventually gives you kind of give you. It's like that's where I feel like that game is it's probably at its strongest, and why I feel like only diehards would get something out of this. I would say I've been very surprised how long it is. When I heard that it was $30, my thought was like, this is gonna be like a $10. It's probably a little too expensive. I get it that it's like a Sony thing. It's gonna be a 10-hour thing. I'm not 30 hours in and it's still not over, and I'm still like discovering new stuff. And also, it's still a pretty meaty game. They patched it recently because it was fairly buggy, fairly unrefined. There's a few things that now feel a little cleaner now, but it's a game that I'm still begrudgingly playing as a big God of War fan myself. Uh, I'm interested enough to finish it, but I cannot, in good faith, like give it a heartwarming recommendation like I usually. You know how much I like God of War myself, Paul. So it's like so that is kind of, it's kind of painful that I don't like it more. I still like it enough to finish it, but I know it's like I know what my tilt is, and I don't think a lot of people are gonna have that tilt. I would much recommend you go play a million other Metroidvanias, like unless you're like a God of War fan. So that's been like
Even as somebody who's kind of cooled off on Metroidvanias in general, I could probably come up with at least 10
that are better.
that would really push things,
Yeah.
and especially comparing this release to the Castlevania game that's supposed to release
Yes,
this year as well.
like I'm so pumped for
That's
that
gonna
one.
be interesting come December.
Yes. Have they said it's December? Because we only know that it's 2026. I don't
No,
think.
I'm just saying by the end of the year.
Oh yes.
Because they said it was this year.
Yes, like for sure. And it's the first of many things they're gonna be doing for Castlevania. But yeah, Castlevania is definitely like the most exciting Metroidvania that's coming out. Not just because it's Konami and Castlevania, but it's who's making it. Is it Dead Cells team? Dead Cells is an excellent mixture of roguelike Metroidvania, and now them doing a full on Metroidvania and now no roguelikes with what they know and how they handle the Castlevania stuff. It's like I tell you, like this is a sort of a miss for God of War, but I'll say this: I'm glad they did this because it's like I like the idea of trying to do an offshoot game in a franchise that is so defined, because I bet this was cheap to make for them. It's like it's at least something different. It's like
Comparatively, for sure.
yeah, and I kind of like that, like holistically that idea. I wouldn't want like the not poor reception, but the mixed reception of this to be the thing that tells them we shouldn't do these kinds of games. No, you need to do more games like this. It's just that why you do these kinds of games has to have better intent. And this is something that I was hearing from the God of War creator David Jaffe, who still has because he founded Sony Santa Monica, so he still has people that worked with him that are still working there. That apparently a lot of people there have become so focused on story that it's very clear that the initiative for this game is like, let's tell a young Kratos story, and that was kind of like that was the driving force for this game, like the complete driving force. And I understand how conceptually that looks cool, but then when you really look at what it does gameplay wise, that's kind of where it falters. And I would have loved a Metroidvania like with the adult Kratos, with the full like with the full Blades of Chaos and all that, because I feel there's still enough time that things that can be explored in that era. Like they could have found like a different angle. I know Ascension was like the moment where you realize they probably ran out of material in the Greek era now because about the
That's
Furies.
what happens when you kill all the Pantheon. There's nobody left.
Exactly. So it's like when you do the Furies and the Hecatoncheires, that's when you're like, oh man, you really have nothing else, huh? You're really scraping the barrel there. So I understand that's probably why they went all the way back here. But it's like, man, it's like, again, I wish it was better. I like it enough, but IGN gave it a 6. I 100% agree with that score. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It really is okay. And it appeals to me, but I tell you, it's like, wait for a massive sale or wait for it to be put in PS Plus. I can imagine that's going to go there because all the God of Wars are on PS Plus. So
much.
And other stuff that I've been playing, I don't really have to say much about it. It's like, I continued and basically finished my main catch up on Resident Evil 7 and 8 because I skipped 5 and 6 because originally the plan was I wanted to stream that with you, but time didn't really allow it, and I couldn't find anyone else to kind of play those games in co-op. So so I was like, at least I'll do 7 and 8, which are like the most immediate whatchamacallit,
the most relevant.
Yeah, most relevant, like, even though that's kind of like in question, I would say, with how relevant they are with what's happening. Exactly.
But maybe in gameplay, the use of the RE engine. And how many times have you replayed 2 and 4 by now?
Oh yeah, I replayed those many times. Like many times.
More of a like a fresh thing for you to experience. But also for anybody else, it's like, I'm going to play the 2 games before this one that came out. No big deal. Good God, Chris Redfield.
Yes. Yeah.
the stupidest looking dude in that game.
Dude,
Anyway, sorry.
the Chris Redfield that they did in 7 is hideous. I don't know what happened
Oh,
visually
it's horrendous.
on those things, but replaying those games, I'm reminded like what makes this era of Resident Evil kind of special, because they found that interesting new sauce, let's say, to
Mhm.
what you to kind of how they could do these games. And I still prefer 2 and 4 myself. It's
Oh, for
like
sure.
and specifically because like I just don't like Ethan Winters. I just don't like. I enjoyed him in 7 as an audience surrogate, because you never see his face. It's supposed to be you. These things are supposed to happen to you. And then when you're like right now, I'm putting footage of me playing through the DLC, Not a Hero. When you play as Chris Redfield, it really is interesting how these games are kind of sort of tangentially Chris Redfield games. Funny enough, it's just
It is weird how they turned into that, because Chris Redfield showing up was the big reveal at the end of 7.
uh huh.
Um, and it just the way that played out. I definitely 7 is still such a weird black sheep to me in my
Mm-hmm.
head. Maybe even more so than 6.
Yeah.
But I'm
Why specifically?
I'm glad that they course corrected
Mm-hmm.
in the right way, because I share some of your sentiment about Ethan. I mean, like, he's definitely the weakest
Mm-hmm.
NC of
Yeah.
Resident Evil, but that's saying a lot when every single other main character in Resident Evil is like not just great, but like a mascot of all of gaming,
Uh huh. Literally.
um, rather than just good main characters, essentially. Um, so that's a hard bar to actually come into contact with, basically. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, he really grew on me in 8, because they put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, in
And I'm so glad.
8 makes him more of a character, and that's kind of like the thing. Like he stops being an audience surrogate, even though it does make it so dumb how hard they try to keep like not show you his face a lot. And I feel it's like you're trying to make him
That
so important, and
did
that's
tire
so
me out a little bit.
yeah, that's so annoying, especially later on when there's more emotionality happening in the stories and all of that. That is like, come on, it's like, don't like just embrace the fact that he's a character. And but I mean, they kill him. Spoiler alert at the end, like at the end. So it's like I would say like what I prefer more about those games is definitely more like the gameplay design, more like more than the character. 8 definitely the story is the thing that I find more interesting because of how they retcon it to the entire series, like in some ways, because it's like it ties back to Umbrella at the end. In a very obviously yes, this is a retcon, but it's kind of interesting that the origins of of Oswald Spencer like happened here, and then obviously that led to the Shadows of Rose DLC that I got to play and finish yesterday, uh, which last time that I played that was back in October 2022, which I always have a soft spot for Shadows of Rose because that's how I found SG in a way, because I was looking for a whatchamacallit I'm gonna say this. I was looking for a review of this thing because I had beaten it, and I was like, no one had a review about SG at the time, so I was like, that's cool that they reviewed it, and I reviewed it, and I kind of agree with like their assessment too, and I I talked with the EIC saying like, hey, like great review and all that. He's like, yeah, it's a new guy that made it. I was like, new guy, huh? And I just shot my shot to be like, hey, I write. Like I used to write for like reviews and all that. Any chance that you have an opening? And then he was like, send me your stuff, and lo and behold, I've been there for 4 years now. So I always have that appreciation for Shadows of Rose, and I also like it has one of my all-time favorite moments in the entire village experience, which you know which one it is. The let me see if I can scroll.
Yeah, it's not quite 75% through. I think you're right there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, so it's like the moment with the
Yep.
stupid mannequins. It's like it is terrifying. That's the thing. Like in the replay, we've always talked about House Beneviento,
Mhm.
the baby stuff and all that. That is such a
It's so
terrifying thing.
unfortunate that's the part that everybody talks about, because I
Uh-huh.
kind of hate it.
Yes.
Even from like just a revisiting standpoint, it just sucks.
Uh-huh.
Going back to because of the pacing, I don't want to say it's
Mm-hmm.
not like a good quality.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly nine even has a couple parts,
Yeah, I've heard that it's pretty.
but like
It's actually a
they're
pretty scary game.
faster set pieces.
Uh
Um, I see these mannequins and they just look like Taylor Swift to me, and it makes me laugh.
huh. Oh man.
I can't really take it seriously, but it still
uh,
terrifies me. I don't know how to describe it.
that is so funny. But it's like the mannequin part. I would say in a replay still is scary. Like the baby part when I played it wasn't as scary anymore because I feel like it's so. That is such a.
It's
Oh,
so easy to avoid it.
It's like both.
Because all it is, you know it's coming, you get it to come to you, you do a single loop around the table, and then you're clear.
Exactly. And then when you get out of this room, the baby shows up again. You go down that bed and all of that.
Same thing.
The gameplay with the mannequins is more terrifying because of the fact that you have to keep staring at them, like, and they can grab in one hit, kill you, and then new
Just
ones
the
show
look,
up.
like look at that section right
Yes,
there.
I'll
You've seen
never.
the super dark room with the two glowing eyes. There's just something about my brain that does not like that.
Exactly. It's so funny how dolls are like, they're so unassuming, but they're probably the most insanely creepy thing that you can do for like quick scares. Like no problem. And I would say that this section really is a standout in the Shadows of Rose DLC. It's a very short DLC. I beat it in 2.5 hours in that 3 hour stream that I did yesterday. So it's like it's not too meaty. The initial Castle Dimitrescu section, that's the game section of a Metroidvania castle. It's kind of more annoying. But that's when you slowly start getting more powers of that you do R1 to do this, use the force and all of that. I would have liked for it to be a little meatier. I still like it's the kind of the thing that I keep like we were talking about before we started today's stream about like I do wonder how much Capcom regrets this DLC, like to what their plans were, because I feel like it's with what we know why they made certain design choices for what they're doing with Requiem, with character choices, why like what their intent was for the game of like of trying to bring back full survival horror and having a character that could feel fragile is like I feel this this DLC leveled up Rose a little too much, even though they took out the like the powers at the end.
They were just like, oh yeah, so she just has ice powers, no big deal. And they're like, well, crap, we can't do that. Let's just make everything immune to it and make her super weak. I felt like they kind of did a bait and switch with that, because when I was seeing it, I was thinking we were going to get some kind of blend of Alan Wake and Control, where it's like you could sort of bend powers, but you're still using a gun and a flashlight.
I remember when you beat, because you beat Village before I did, because if you remember, you finished it first, and I beat it when I had COVID. I remember you were saying that you were very excited for the future of Resident Evil after Village, and I don't know how much, and I don't know how much that was because of Rose.
It was partly because of that, because like they really sold me on how good that ending was to me personally.
It's a good ending,
and the way that he passes his legacy on to Rose essentially, and then going like, yeah, Rose is basically like a metahuman now, and the future of RE at this point is going to be either Rose as a person with powers doing the same stuff, or Chris trying to handle a girl with powers essentially in the same situation. And then they kind of did something completely different, but that's fine, whatever. But I did get really excited about what it was like. Okay, we're like in a semi-futuristic setting and people have superpowers and it's Resident Evil. All right, let's go. It's nothing new really, because we had freaking Jake and whatever his deal was, roundhousing people into skyscrapers.
Yeah, I would say it is really interesting how much 6 gets lambasted over how over the top jump the shark it got, and I feel Village jumps an even bigger shark with the superpowers and all of that. I would say with Mother Miranda and all of that. Like, let me see if I can scroll. Like the final boss battle with Mother Miranda is like insane. Like it's like a literal like Devil May Cry fight. Like not even kidding, with like Rose doing like quick dodges, like Mother Miranda
There it
doing like
is.
doing like spirit bombs and all of that. So it's
That's what
like,
I'm saying. Like you know what? I think if Returnal was actually a Resident Evil game, maybe I would have liked it more.
if it wasn't just a bullet hell game.
Man, maybe that's the way that I could have stomached it, perhaps. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I gotta say, like the gameplay seems similar when you really break it down. But
Uh-huh.
for some reason, with the set dressing of it being Mother Miranda and Rose
Mm-hmm.
teleporting around and using her father's weaponry, it's just really cool to me for some reason.
Yeah, it's conceptually cool. It's like, to me, that boss fight is like, I feel pays homage to the fact that Devil May Cry was born out of the original version of Resident Evil 4, if you remember. That like they wanted to do
Yep,
like a very supernatural one, but it got so out of control that Kamiya was like, look, the
if you
concepts of
control
this
it
are,
right.
yes. It's like, these concepts are really cool. They're a little too crazy for Resident Evil. Why don't we just make this a franchise? And that's where Devil May Cry was born. So it's like, seeing this over the topness is like, at least a homage to how crazy that original version of RE4 was, and they kind of brought it back here, even though it's a little too much for the series. And it's, I don't know if it will ever come back like this. Like, I've heard Requiem is over the top, like, for sure, but
But in
especially
a different way.
exactly.
It's the same over the top that Leon is over the top.
Uh-huh.
Like when you put freaking Vin Diesel in a Fast and Furious movie, it's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, he's gonna do some crazy supernatural stuff, but you can sort of convince yourself that
Mm-hmm.
that's a regular human being.
Yes.
And it's the same case with Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you start getting ice powers and time stop and teleportation, I think people start to check out with
Mm-hmm.
what you should be able to do in Resident Evils, which I get, but whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, it's interesting that Resident Evil has always been like a distension of, is it a survival horror series or an action horror series, and that's the thing I'm most excited about, like, experiencing in Requiem, because it feels like it's the first time. We'll briefly skim through some reviews later from this. That it seems like they got that balance right, like being a survival horror experience and also an action horror experience. And that was always a big concern because 6 didn't get that balance right at all. So just look, this is what annoys me. Like look at the footage. I mean, it's like having like all these emotional moments, and all the time, like the face being blocked, like never seeing,
Yeah.
like it's like, that's the thing that annoys me of him making Ethan more important instead of an audience surrogate, because it's like, it's a touching scene. This, but look.
Well, I think this is where they should have had their Return of the Jedi Darth Vader face reveal.
Yes,
Where this is the final moment where we get to see
Ethan.
Ethan's face as he's having his last words with his daughter. That's
Mm-hmm.
that I think should have been the case for sure.
100%. And I feel like the commitment to them not trying to show that face, it's just so stupid for having made him a character instead of like just an audience surrogate. And I feel that blunts a little, because I would say there's a, seeing the story of 7 and 8 together for like the Ethan Winters arc, I think I appreciate it slightly more. Like with the whole thing with Ethan, Mia, and their daughter and all that, I feel like at least there's a cleanness to the arc of a father that sacrificed himself for his family and all that. There's like, at least there's a cleanness to it that you don't get from RE. But look, see, like, just how stupid it is.
See, that's dumb.
You see, it's like the way that is framed. It's like, come on. That's kind of why I like, the one thing I would say Shadows of Rose does better than mainline Village is giving Rose a face, like literally, like making her a character. At least it made me care for her in that way. So it's like, I'm glad that at least we see the faces now for our protagonists in Requiem. So enough, yeah, enough of RE, because that's basically all I've been playing. It's time to.
Well, I did want to share that one last thing that I got to play.
Yeah.
So I went back and played the PlayStation 3 hidden classic Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh
recently.
yes, yeah. Let me.
My goodness, talk about a series that I saw the case of for years and years. Because I used to work at GameStop, and you know, there's certain games that were just like always on the shelf essentially. And but also it was like you saw games like that. You saw games like Tales of let's see, Xillia at the time, and then like Hyper Neptunia and things. So you're just like then Disgaea, and you're like, what is this weird anime game about? This one's got like World War II tanks and stuff going on. What's the deal here? Little did I realize the absolute fire that this series is. I'd never even seen actual gameplay. I didn't know how it played.
It was a strategy
game.
game.
It was a strategy game. I just knew that was like the vibe, essentially. The early hours don't really do justice how insane it gets, but every single mission is like a completely different setup. For instance, and as far as tone goes, it gives you like about 5 minutes of like a silly like anime style misunderstanding where the main guy is a botanist, essentially like a biologist, but he's the son of like a great general from their small town. And the girl that you're playing as right now captures it because she's part of like the neighborhood watch, and anybody with a book looks like a spy essentially. But immediately after that, they get jumped by, or like a nearby group of people trying to leave their town, get jumped by enemy soldiers and just get massacred right in front of you. And then from there, it plays out basically like Final Fantasy Type 0. If you remember the tone of that one, where it's like what Three Houses, I think, was trying to be, where it's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have a great time and it's gonna be great. We're all teenagers. It's anime styled. It's like a storybook. And then it's just horrors beyond comprehension in war. Essentially, like they avoid like anything truly heinous because it's a T for teen game, but it absolutely is like, no, yeah, people are gonna be massacred by the hundreds, maybe bloodlessly, but they're all gonna die. And as you can see, like there's just destruction of these people's hometown, essentially. And it's also the old school Fire Emblem style of once a character dies, you get 3 turns, and then they're gone for good. There's only like a handful that are like the core cast that are all like the main voiced people that are going to survive, of course, because that's the same case for Fire Emblem. But everybody else, you can lose essentially. And if you're not careful, you will definitely lose people very quickly. Every once in a while, you're like, oh yeah, I think I'm fine. And then a sniper will just delete them instantly because their head was poking out of something. But as far as like gameplay goes, it's really clever the way it plays out, because it's essentially let's see, you're about to actually start the real thing. So if you skip ahead by like 5 minutes, you're going to get into the actual nitty-gritty of what the gameplay really looks like, where essentially you're going to be looking at a map, you click on any character, and then you can use a certain amount of points essentially to move them around freely. And in front of certain things, you have contextual ability to like crouch down in front of sandbags, or essentially there's like 5 different 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, 5 different classes that you can choose, and they're all different weapon types. And then you get 1 tank, and the guy that you're playing as inherits it essentially. And you get to, the whole game is you're upgrading your weaponry, your tank. It's all visual upgrades too, so you get like armor plating on the sides, the cannon looks bigger. It's really fun to get to use it, and it's honestly kind of crazy what this game is like, essentially, where it's like, I'm sure you've heard of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
Where this is basically that, except instead of like supernatural stuff going on, it's just only the pre-World War II vibes. And it is so cool, and like as you can see, it's timeless. This game came out
2010, I think
before, I think it was
or 2009
2010 or before.
I think it was probably 2009, probably.
It's insane how good it looks for how, like, even the borders are constantly like a hand-drawn style. Even when you zoom out, it's got the hatching style with the pencil marks. Even when your character dies, it does that, and then it zooms away as if it's
Mm-hmm.
like a hand drawn sketch getting erased.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool the way they blended all of this together. Like it's just a big storybook being told of this country essentially. I'm told that even more insane things happen throughout the course of it.
That I've heard.
A concentration camp.
Yeah, I've heard.
With all of dark-haired people are considered like the Jews essentially, and they're being discriminated and murdered basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's just some insane stuff going on. I'm really looking forward to getting deeper into it, and I would say it's a significantly better game than Front Mission was, which is why I immediately dropped the second game and started playing this instead. And I'm still just like burning through it.
And you're playing on the Steam Deck, right?
The Steam, yes. So it's like such a perfect game to take on the go. You do a turn or two, and then you turn it off and go back to do something else essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a really fun game, I gotta say. It doesn't hold your hand after like the first like tutorial of things. If you don't load up with the right squad people, you will get screwed over really badly, because like for tanks, for instance, nothing but explosives can hurt them. And if you don't prep for that, you're just out of luck.
Yeah, I had this game, and I had that because they remastered it for PS4 first, so I bought it when it was like $10. It's still there, like in my thousands of games that are in my library. So one day I'll be like, okay, maybe someday I'll try it. But it's like seeing it more and hearing you talk about it is like make me consider it more, especially because I could play it on the Portal. This feels like a great Portal game. So
it's a perfect handheld game. Like if the second and third of these were made for, I think, the PSP only. I don't even think they're on Steam right now, but everybody that I talk to that really likes this series is like, don't even bother with those. Just play the first one and then play the fourth one.
Yeah, those are the one. Yeah, those are the ones that got remastered.
Like yeah, none of the characters carry over. It's a very like same story as like your Armored Cores, your Ace Combat. It's just there's a conflict. You're personally involved in it. And here's a bunch of cool missions and characters to get you involved in this war and in this world, essentially. And I'm really I'm so happy that I found this. It made me honestly want to make this episode about like revisiting old games that you just didn't realize were good.
Yeah,
or
that's something. Yeah, that's something we could talk about the next time you circle around. Yeah, when we circle back around, we could do that. Like now that we have like a more of a freewheeling structure to this, so we don't hold on too much because obviously you're still in a tight schedule.
Right. Yeah, let's hit it with what do we got next?
Resident Evil Requiem, the review roundup. So 110 reviews have been like logged in the PS5 version, basically, because that's like the platform with the most reviews, even though like it's been reviewed everywhere. There's like 10 reviews over on Xbox with 92, 17 on PC, and 12 on Switch 2. There's people that actually played this and liked it a lot on Switch 2, but for the sake of argument, like 88 Metacritic for Resident Evil Requiem. It's funny enough, in one of my chats, it was Andres Plays 93, Luis. He's the other Hispanic writer in at SG. He joins my streams. He actually asked me what was my prediction. I was like, my prediction is 88.
Look at that.
Hit the bullseye, because I was like, okay, 7 got an 86, Village got an 84, 6 had a 67, and I was like, a lot of people have been very, very positive of what we played. Like the demo I saw at SGF, which included this like giant monster. If you see like the video that's there in the Metacritic, it's like based on the vibes, I was like, it seems like it's gonna be the one that's gonna score the highest, but it may not hit 90s because I don't know how many people are gonna like buy, because a lot of people from the Resident Evil community, like Bakbasup is his name. He's a big streamer. He was like, there is a chance that this could also be the most polarizing Resident Evil ever because of the fact that it's full survival horror and also action, and those, you either get your full action RE game or you get your full survival horror game. You never get a mix, and it seems like the mix actually worked really well. Uh, enough so that there's an interesting review from Giant Bomb. I don't know if they're here. Let me see, because they gave it a 90. So let me see. See, there's a lot of 9s here. I wonder if they logged it in here because they used to be.
I think you were onto something there, because a lot of people come to a horror game or horror series for one or the other, and it's either the action in the middle of it all, or like the absolute opposite with like your Outlasts and your Alien Isolations and stuff like that. And there's very rarely an overlap in people that like both. So I think a lot of people are going to go, I really liked half of this game, and a lot of people are going to go, well, I like the other half of this game.
Yeah, and
so
what this review said, I can't quite find the bad. Leon sections can sometimes feel too action heavy. Narrative and design stumbles in the final hour, of course. No, this is Gaming Bolt. Where was Giant Bombs? I saw. Oh, here it is. This is the one. He specifically mentions that both sections of the game are so good, like both like the horror section and the action sections, that it makes it like here it is. It's like, as it stands, I feel I got about 30% of a truly fresh Resident Evil game and 70% of a very fun greatest hits homage. And kind of like he was saying that both sections of this game were so good. Like the action section is like the best an action Resident Evil game has been. The horror section has been the best the survival horror Resident Evil has been in modern times. That he wishes he had gotten the full game out of both sections instead of the half and half that they got.
Yeah.
So it's like so that's what I do find funny, that from like what I read, it's like I'm actually like pleasantly surprised this review that high considering that discrepancy, and I want to see how that plays out whenever we get, because it's a ton of 9s, as you can see as I've been scrolling up and up and up. There's a lot of 9s, not many 10s.
Just keeps
So
going.
yeah, so it's like a GameSpot gave it an 8, and that review was more like in line of what I was expecting from like the split of like how someone could feel like in the more negative sense of like, okay, it's like it's like 2 separate games crammed into one. But remember, 6 was 4 different games crammed into one also, but doing none of them great. Whereas this one, it seems like it's doing 6 but better in a way, I've heard. And I heard that it is interesting that Game Informer went really high. Like,
What they do?
They gave it a 9.75. Yeah, 9.75. So it's like that is, they gave Resident Evil 4 a 10. Yeah, just for reference. So it's like it's the highest they've scored an RE game in like in like forever. So, what's your hype level, Paul, right now? Now that we are literally 4 hours away from the game unlocking.
I am really excited. I'm mad that I'm gonna have to wait until the very end of tomorrow to actually touch it. I downloaded it, but I'm gonna be sitting there going to work. I have an event after work. I'm gonna have to put my son to sleep, and then I can hopefully play it for like an hour and a half. And then maybe a little bit right before we get to do our stream. But yeah, it's I'm excited for it, and I am only getting more excited as people are like playing, and the FOMO is kind of hitting a little bit.
Yes, it is rough. It's rough how many people have actually started playing it now. I'm a big Runby fan. I like watching her streams. I didn't tune into that because like she got the game early. I was like, I can't. I need to keep this experience as fresh as I possibly can beyond like what I've seen in trailers and the showcase and things like that. But
I will say this one seems to have even more replayability between playing the whole thing third person, playing it all first person, and then I think, what was it, dude? Gene Park has been going crazy.
Yeah, he beat it 9 times.
He's played it 9 times.
Yes,
one of which was 2 hours and 31 minutes.
He sped run through it.
All sorts of different challenge modes. I do appreciate that because I remember when 8 came out, I played through it like 2.5 times.
Yes,
one regular, one on the highest difficulty with like New Game Plus weapons, and being able to do that, having at least one gun that you can get the infinite ammo for, is so fun to me
Uh-huh.
that I really hope they get to do that again here.
Hmm.
Because I realized going back that that didn't exist in 2 remake.
Nope, there's no infinite
Maybe
ammo there because it's not an
there
action.
might be the rocket launcher, but that was it.
Hmm.
And that's not the same thing. I wanted like a simple gun to be able to use with unlimited ammo or something. But
Hmm.
for a lot of the others, you could. So in any case, I'm excited to see all the cool stuff you could unlock with it, all the little challenge runs you can do,
Hmm.
and it seems like there's a lot going on with this game, and I'm really excited.
I've heard this is the Fast Five of Resident Evil games. This is the MGS4 of Resident Evil games. Uh, by the way,
Interesting.
yeah, it's like when you use MGS4, it's like, oh man, this like you're setting the bar really high with callback.
It's like a. Well, oh yeah, that's true because Leon gets to have his whole Shadow Moses Island
Uh
return essentially. Um, and at least I have a feeling I'm not going to have to sit through a 71-minute cutscene
exactly, yeah.
to see the
Yeah.
actual conclusion of this story.
I find it interesting that I've heard people say they beat this in 10 to 12 hours, other people beat it in 20. So I'm like, what's the truth then?
20.
Yeah, in 20. So I'm like, just, that's why I was like,
Did you see there's some kind of puzzle in that game that
yes,
nobody
no,
has figured out?
yeah, I've been following Gene Park saying that he wanted to platinum the game and he still tried to platinum it and he couldn't do it because of that puzzle. So I'm waiting for the guide for that one. Eric, that's a trailer that they're putting there in the Metacritic. That's why that's why we're putting the one that intentionally misses the shots because Nintendo didn't want to show blood and gore.
So we're not doing any spoilers here, fear not.
Exactly, yeah, but yeah, it's like that is happening tonight. I'm gonna be streaming it in 4 hours. Let me switch back to our layout now, and let me on. There we go. We're back. Now we're back to yes. We have done it now. so yeah. But also marathon. The test started today too, and that's something that I'm gonna.
Be something else I want to find out about.
Yes, it's been like. Have you been seeing the things that it's been climbing up the Steam charts of like in the hype? Like
it's like number 3 right now.
Yeah, it overtook Arc Raiders. It is also funny. Arc Raiders timed the worst possible patch they could have timed this week. Do you see that?
Nerfing several weapons, removing all the PvP challenges. Mm-hmm. They did add a bunch of stuff supposedly, but I think I'm still kind of out of it right now, and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's like it is funny.
I don't know what I could have done differently to have not burnt out from that game, besides maybe not play every day for a while. But
I play that with it's like the pace of that game can be very exhausting sometimes because of like the and it is funny trying to play that with my brother and sister, and it's like my brother is too trigger happy to play that kind of game, and my sister just doesn't have the let's just say the dexterity and patience for it. I had a lot of fun playing with my brother-in-law and his friend. It was so funny. It was I don't know. I show you the video where we're like all downed and we're like all talking crap to each other. It's like it was so funny.
All talking smack at each other.
Yeah, because like they downed us, but they got downed by the by the robots. So, by the art. So that was really funny, and that. I'm hoping that similar things can happen with Marathon. I'm more excited for Marathon because of the aesthetic and the gameplay, because it's Bungie shooting in that, and I feel like everyone's now more primed to a. How can I say this? They're more primed for a extraction shooter now than before, and I feel like now people are just. The honeymoon period of Arc Raiders is kind of over. That game's still popular, but it's like, people always want the next big hit. They want the next big, the next big thing, and I feel Marathon has that. Depending, like, I'm for sure go live to play RE, but I may go live later to try Marathon. I want to see if I get to have my siblings play with me, and also like we're gonna be streaming on Saturday, so that's one of the games that we're actually talking about. We're gonna doing that. So
I might do a little bit of preliminary work and play the Rook class, or if it's even available today.
Oh yes, it is. I saw Paul Tassi has been talking about Rook runs, and he's like, "Yeah, Rook runs are pretty chill for the most part." I was like, "That actually sounds really nice because Rook."
I wonder what that's gonna be like. Man, I need I need some chill solo runs.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like I don't know how to describe it, but because I haven't gotten my hands on Marathon yet. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be a very different vibe and pacing to your Arc Raiders,
Mm-hmm.
which was very much the huge zone, run across all of it, do all of this stuff with your little quests,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would get jumped or spotted by something, and that was it for you essentially because it was so like be the ambusher,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know why my camera turned off. There we go.
Yeah.
Be the ambusher or completely avoid combat entirely. But Marathon seems to be doing like that Titanfall 2 situation where there's so much like good reasoning
Mm-hmm.
to get into combat
Mm-hmm.
that I think the flow is going to be a little bit better.
You mean Apex Legends,
Um
right?
no, I'm saying like for Marathon there seems to be because of those roaming enemies
Uh-huh.
and like your Titanfall
Yeah,
where
Titanfall had like
they
like I
had like the
remember had
little enemies
enemies
you
there
could
too.
do. The same thing kind of with For Honor, where there's a little bit of a reason in incentive for like points or items or whatever you're trying to do to jump the
Mm-hmm.
the NPCs, and then to not work together with other players, but to jump each other in the process of it all. But it doesn't feel like more of a oh my gosh that's just ruined me. It's sort of like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more part of the point, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. I don't know if I'm talking right for it, but it Arc Raiders, it felt like it was such a devastation to like, oh gosh, I gotta put together my loadout,
Uh,
and it's gonna take me like 15 minutes just to buy and craft everything
mm-hmm.
to do it.
That's
And this
what
one is like,
that's what bounced my siblings away from that. So it's like
yeah, like hold everything really loosely with Marathon. There's even something like with a gun, you can only change hands 5 times, and then it automatically turns itself into credits.
mm-hmm.
Where it's like it's designed to just keep a constant flow going, and then I think the forcing everybody to wipe every few weeks or whatever amount of time it
Mm-hmm.
is going to excuse me, incentivize less hoarding of
Mm-hmm.
items.
Yeah. So I'm really
If that
excited
makes sense.
I'm really excited to see how it lands for them because it's been such an arduous journey for Bungie. The Art Raiders thing, the plagiarism will make me God meme that happened when because it was like the escaping will make me God, I think was the tagline for that game. And then
Yeah, escape. And then it's art theft will make me God.
yeah. It's insane how like they set themselves up for failure to like to deliver
Somehow
meme.
they've come a full 180 from taking care of situations like that. Almost like if they hadn't and they tried to push through with the release for that,
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, how devastating that
Yes,
could have been. But
it didn't even have proximity chat. That's insane. They were not even planning on that, and the delay allowed them to do that. It looks so much. It looks so much better visually now, like significantly better. That it's like the extra time really like allowed them to really cook. And I'm rooting for them specifically because I don't want them to close, especially with what's happening with PlayStation right now, where we don't even have to get through that. Where they close Blue Point, which is so
yeah,
devastating.
I don't want Sony
Yeah.
to learn the wrong lesson from Marathon's success, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I need them to keep the lights on
Mm-hmm.
at Bungie and at Sony and at PlayStation so that they can
Uh,
figure out what the hell is going on in this industry and just make a little bit of stability out of it.
yeah,
Please.
because like their Bungie acquisition has been such a boondoggle like, for them. Has been like such a mess. Like how they laid off so many people from Bungie because they could like that studio was just churning so much. Destiny, how much it suffered because of what you call it.
Because of Marathon.
Because of Marathon Development taking all their best developers, including their sandbox team, got put over there after Strand and Lightfall. So it's like that game has been sucking up a lot of the top talent from Bungie. That at least I would hope that it lands good, so that it doesn't feel like they backed the wrong horse. And there is hype. Like the last closed alpha was like positively received, and there's been like shocking hype behind every Vidoc, behind every new character trailer. Everyone loves the music. Everyone loves the vibe. I feel like it has aura to it that I feel that it's attracting people, and I feel people are remembering. It's like it's the new IP from Bungie in 12 years. 12 years. Think about that. Destiny was 2014. 14 and like
Ah,
It makes me feel old,
It
right?
makes me mad, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it makes me feel old, but yeah.
In any case,
I might
I'm
be
hoping for the best.
yeah. So I might be testing that right before I jump into Resident Evil later tonight. So, Paul,
Nice.
our time together is basically come to a close for this like more just chill
Yes.
version of now our retooled Ultimate X button. We probably should even call it Ultimate X button at this point. It's just the Slayer Giants hangout, basically.
The Slayer. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
The Giant Slayer, and I am the Slayer Giant.
Yes. Yeah, that's the day I am the Slayer Giant because that's so funny. My brother took my Giant Slayer name. He's Giant Slayer 2000, and my sister is Tiny Slayer.
Which is Tiny Slayer.
Yeah.
Tracking it up.
Yeah, it is
Well, in
funny.
any case,
Yeah.
y'all can find me at Dork of Art on Twitter and on our Discord,
Mhm.
which is where, Alejandro?
Yeah, it is the Slayer Giant. You can find the link over at there here in Twitch. If you go to like my description, there should be a link there. So join us there.
But in any case, I'm getting out of here. You're gonna find Alejandro doing some much more fun stuff.
Yes, and you'll be back in 2 weeks. But yeah, Thursday streams are now a thing. So
We're hoping for the best.
yes,
Adios, everybody.
Adios.
Peace out.
there we go. So yeah, hopefully I can see you later here, Raquel or JS Dylan Schneider. I always have to remember. I'm thankful I now know that is you. So man, it looks so red here at the moment. So yeah, so kind of like how I was saying, now what used to be the podcast is gonna be a just chill, let's just chill moment. So I'm gonna go offline for a little bit, and I should go online hopefully within 2 hours. I'm gonna try to get my sister and my brother to get it with Marathon with me, and we'll see how that goes. And then later on tonight, right when it opens, Requiem. So I will be back in a few hours, so catch you all in the other side. See ya.